Today, I want to talk on a scripture that always been kind of, it's one we all know, or at least most of us probably know it, but it's one that's kind of left me, it always leaves you kind of guessing a little bit as to what it means. And eventually I will find it here. Where is it? Anyway, I will quote it to you. It's where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and what's going on is this is getting toward the end of Jesus' time. You know, he's fixing to leave, and he's talking to his disciples. And he's sending them out. He's starting to train them, and he's sending them out. And he's telling them to go, you know, to go out, heal the sick, to be his witnesses and stuff. And he says, look, when you come upon a house, if they receive you, leave your peace with them. He says, but if they don't receive you, then take your peace back and leave. And so, how many people understand exactly what that means? Yeah, nobody raises their hands. I wouldn't have either, because it's like, what do you mean? Leave your peace with them or take it back? I don't understand that. And I'm sure the disciples were pretty much the same way. What? Leave what? Our peace? How? And so that's kind of what we're talking on today. That's kind of where we're going. And it's kind of been simplified to me, and hopefully you can follow my crazy track of thought here, and it'll be simplified for you. So we're going to start in Genesis. If anybody has their Bible, I apologize. I didn't have a chance to put it up on the screen behind us. But in Genesis 8 is where we're going to start. 8. And this is a story of Noah. And Noah's been on the ship for quite a while. It's rained. They've been on this big boat, this ark, and so it's finally stopped raining. And they've been adrift for a couple of 100 days. And so he's like, you know what? Let's just see what's out there. And so he takes a dove, and he releases the dove. And we'll read here what it says. And on verse 8, he says, he also sent out from himself a dove to see if the water had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and drew her into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days, and sent the dove out, which did not return again to him anymore. So where this is going to come into play. What is the national symbol of peace? A dove with an olive leaf in his mouth. It's the national sign of peace. I believe everything in here kind of correlates back to one another. So let's go back to the times, back to Jesus. All right. Jesus gets arrested. He gets beat pretty bad, gets crucified, gets buried in a tomb. All of his disciples, they're scared. I mean, they were his followers, and they just killed their leader. They're expecting, okay, this is going to happen to us too. They're hidden in a house. They've got the door shut. They're kind of barricaded themselves in. And they're like, what do we do now? This guy that done all these great things, that was our leader. He was our Messiah. He was our king. He's dead now. What do we do? And that's where we're going to pick up in John. Sorry, I know it feels like I'm jumping around a lot, and I probably am. have done horrible today at this. Trust me on this. Okay, so it's talking about them being in the room, and Jesus comes in. And he walks through the door. It says all the doors were locked, and then Jesus appears in the room. He actually walks through the door into his disciples. And his disciples, they say, were filled with fear. All of his disciples, they were filled with fear. They're fearing for their lives. They're afraid the Roman guard's fixing to come at them any minute. And now this guy walks through the wall to you. I mean, that just adds to the fear that they have. And one of the first things that Jesus says to them is peace. Peace be to you. But you'll see that he sent his peace out into the room, but it had no place to land. They were all feared. They were all afraid. They were terrified. They did not receive the peace. Jesus had to stop and go, hey, you know what? 2019? Thank you. I had it marked.
Well, it's 19 through like 23.
Oh, my thing was covering it up. Okay. And then that same evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in the midst and said to them, peace be with you. When he had said this, he showed them his hands and his side. Then the disciples were glad when they saw the Lord. So Jesus said to them again, peace be to you. As the Father has sent me, I also send you. Just as Noah sent out the dove and the dove flew around, it had no place to land, it had no place to go. Jesus walks into this room and he sends his peace. He says, peace be to you. But the disciples were too full of fear. They were too afraid. There was no place for that peace to land because the disciples were scared. They were scared of their circumstance. They were scared of their surroundings. They were scared of what was happening. And Jesus had to take a minute and say, wait a minute, look, it's me. You see the holes in my hands? You see the hole in my side? And then he again, a second time, said, peace be with you. And the second time, we see that peace had a place to land. And they became peaceful. They became comforted. They recognized him as the Lord then. And they were joyful. You know, several things I want to point out about this situation. How many times are we in a situation that we're fearful of? I mean, we have people in our church right now that are in situations that they're fearful of. And peace has no place to land because their mind is too concentrated on fear. Does everybody understand what I'm saying so far, where I'm going? So, the disciples, they were too scared. They were too concentrated on what was going on around them. And Jesus had to say, you know what, look, what you're afraid of, what you're scared of happening, I've already been through. You're afraid of being arrested. You're afraid of being beaten. You're afraid of being crucified. Look, it's me. I've been there. I've done that. Peace be with you. How many times do we come across people who are going through situations that maybe we've been through, and they're too terrified for the peace of Jesus to just land on? They don't have a clue what's going to happen. They don't have a clue where they're going. Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace. Right? Everybody's heard of Jesus being called the Prince of Peace? Okay. Here's the thing. When you have a king over a kingdom and he has princes, he takes his princes and in training to take over the kingdom, he gives them bits and pieces of his kingdom. All right? This is in the real world, an actual king. He would give his prince, this is your section, this is your... Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace. He has been given this. This is what he's in charge of. And he has this peace. And he says, Lord help me. I'm all mixed up here. I can't find anything I'm looking for. But he says that,
We forgive you.
thank you. Thank you. Everything I had just kind of got in an uproar over the last couple of days. But he says, you know what? What the Father has given me, he has given me peace. He's given me joy, and I give this to you. All right? So Jesus was in charge of peace. He says, what the Father has given him, he gives to us. He leaves us his peace. Do not be afraid. Do not be fearful. I give you my peace, and I don't give it to you like the world gives it to you. So, the one thing that I want, that you've got to understand, is if I give you something, all right, let's say, my phone. Here, I'll give you my phone. He has my phone now. When I leave, he can do whatever he wants to with my phone. Right? It's in his possession. He has it. He's holding it. He can do whatever he wants to with it. Now, he knows me, so he'll treat it in a way that he knows I would treat it. But it's his to do with. If somebody comes up and says, hey, I need to make a phone call, it's his to go here. Make a phone call. If somebody says, hey, I need to look up something on the internet, it's his to go, here, look it up on the internet. It may not be his phone, but it's in his possession. He can do anything he wants to with it because I've given it to him. Jesus has said the same thing. He says, I'm in control of peace and I give it to you. You now have that peace that you can do anything you want to with. Because it's been given to you by the Prince of Peace, by the man in charge of all peace, by the King in charge of all peace. He's given that to you to do with as you will. Does everybody follow me so far? Is this making sense to anybody so far? Okay, so now that we've been given that peace in our possession and we hold it in our possession, we try to over-spiritualize things. We try to make things more complicated. Let's look at what Jesus done when he handed out peace. When he walked into the room, what did he do? Anybody.
Peace be with you.
He spoke it. Peace be with you. And the peace went out the first time and what? It didn't land. It come back to him. To the point that he loved them enough that he was like, all right, look guys, calm down. I've been there, I've done that, it's all going to be good. Peace be to you. Peace landed that time. We have that ability. When we walk into somebody's life who their life is in chaos, their life is in turmoil, they don't know what's fixing to happen. You know, Jesus, I mean, we all hear the phrase, we're his hands and feet. This is how you are his hands and feet. When you walk into that, just a simple word. You know what? Peace be upon you. You and your family. You know? We say we have the power of life and death in our words. We really do. And it really is that simple. To be able to say that, because you don't know. We plant seeds all the time by what we say in people. We've all seen the father who tells our kid, you're never going to be anything. The kid grows up, sometimes to be nothing. Could it be because we've planted a seed over and over and over? We've seen the kids where, we told him, you're going to be great, you're going to be great, you're going to be great, and he grows up and he does great things. Plant that seed of peace when you walk into somebody's life. Peace be with you, because when they start getting into that situation and the devil starts telling them lies and stuff, they have that seed that they can think back and go, no. Brittany said, peace be with me. She's a Christian, so I believe that peace will be with me. I'm going to be peaceful. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. I mean, we have people in our church right now that are worried, scared, upset. I can think of 3 families right now. And how easy it is to just speak life and speak peace over them. It's ours. We've been given it to it. Just like I gave him my phone, which I'm going to get back before I forget. But you see, he would treat this phone with the same respect he would treat me because he knows it's mine. We've been given peace by Jesus. We have been told to go out and give our peace to those that we come in contact with, those that accept us. And so that would be where we're headed at today. This is going to be the foundation of where we're going from for the next few weeks. But it really is that simple. It's not that complicated. Things in Christianity are really a lot more simpler than we make them. We like to think, that it's this big formula and everything has to work out right and you have to, everything has to line up. Jesus always made things really simple when he was talking to people.
So, you started the conversation with offer peace. He offered peace, and if they didn't take it back.
Yes.
It's
I
a lot
believe.
different than the phone.
Do it now?
It's a lot different than the phone.
Well, yes and no. But what if I offered you the phone? All right? And you didn't want to accept it. You're like, I don't want that. Fine. I'll take it back with me. I'm not just going to leave it here at your feet if you don't want it, if you're not going to use it properly, if you're not going to accept it. I'll bring it with me. And so this was a time when Jesus, he sent his disciples out twice. The first time he sent them out, it's like 172, 73. He sent them out and he says, look, don't bring anything with you. When you go, just go you. No extra shoes, no clothes, no food, no hat, no nothing. Just go and tell them about me. And if they accept you, give them peace. Leave your peace there on their house so that their household will be full of peace as well. But if they don't accept you, then bring your peace with you and continue on. Even knock the dust off your feet and keep going. And so, did that answer?
Yeah, that brings it around. That's fine.
Okay. So, a lot of times I think I know what the question is, but I may not. But, it really is. There's going to be some people that just, we all heard of people that like to live in turmoil. People that enjoy this. We could leave or attempt to leave our peace there, but if they're not going to pick it up, if they're not going to use it, if they don't want it, if they're not going to treat it with the respect, Jesus said, don't even leave it, just bring it back with you. And then sometimes people are in such a situation. We've all seen movies, where somebody is just in a panic situation. You end up slapping them to calm them down, and you're like yourself in that type of situation. It's very easy to get yourself into a situation where you start getting tunnel vision, and all you can see is the problem. All you can see is the bad of what's happening. And sometimes it takes somebody from the outside, not to physically slap them, but especially if you've been through that situation before, to go, hey, wait a minute. Look, settle down. Peace be with you. Let me tell you what Jesus can do. Because even people that believe in Jesus can get tunnel vision focused on bad, on what could happen, on what could be, on what might be. What you think, Brittany?
I was telling Aaron, people do get tunnel vision. But for me, it's always, when I read this, I see it the way you're saying it too. But for me, I tend to worry about what people think and how they feel and stuff like that. So I always took it too as, if they don't accept what you have, don't worry over that. Take your peace back with you. You don't have to lose your peace because they won't accept, because not everybody will. And so that's just some way that I kind of interpreted that too.
So, this week, as we go out, you're going to run into people that are having bad weeks. The whole point of the church is to bring his kingdom here on earth. The whole point of us is to be his hands and feet. You know, we've all seen the thing, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus was the Prince of Peace, and he brought peace, and he brought joy, and he brought all this with him when he came. And it's not no super spiritual thing. It really is as simple as being conscious of the fact that you are a carrier of the peace because you've been given that. If you're born again and you're a disciple of Jesus, you're a follower of Jesus, he has given you the peace that he had. And more so than that, if you keep reading, just to let you know that this is not just bogus, you have that peace because he kept on it. And he says, more so, if you come across somebody who has sinned and you forgive them of that sin, their sins are forgiven. But if you retain that sin, their sins are retained. So he's given you the power to bring peace to people's lives. And he says right here, you have the authority to forgive sin. Which is so much more than just bringing peace to somebody's life. Right? Wouldn't you think? I would think. So this week, find somebody that you can bring peace to. Find somebody that you can just speak those few words. Hey, you know, peace on you and your household. You know, may the peace of Jesus be with you this week. You know. And just past that point, let the Holy Spirit do his work. So, and I would encourage you to do it to everybody, even because it didn't say if you come across somebody in a turmoil, it says if they accept you, leave your peace with them. If they accept you, leave your peace with them. So, questions, concerns? What do you think, Caleb? No, don't call on me. Well, that's where I'm going at this week, and that's what I have for this week. So I will speak over y'all. May the peace of Jesus go with each and every one of y'all this week, and may it be overwhelming and abundant and overflowing so that you can hand it out to other people around you. So,
Hey, you remember the challenge that gave us like 3 weeks ago, or I don't remember, a while back. But anyway, about think of somebody who gets under your skin, or you know, is like whatever, and try to find ways to not feel that way anymore, or whatever. Well, so I had a few people, and just that I had been, you know, just dealing with just personal issues with and stuff like that. And so I've really been praying about that, and just praying that God would help me find ways to love them better and rightly, and help me to not, even if they keep doing the things that they do, help me to not see it that way, just to see it the way he sees it. And so this week alone, I wasn't really here for the much as I was going to say this then, but anyway, this week alone I've had dealings with like 2 of them, and it went really well, and I just was able to, because I've been really praying about this for 3 weeks now, I think it's been 3 weeks, but and it was able to go really well and smoothly, and anyway.
awesome. Awesome. So is your relationship getting better with these people?
I would say yes.
Yes. Cool beans. So,
One of them's supposed to be here.
most of y'all probably know, but I'll announce it anyway. There's going to be a baby shower at 3 o'clock for Jessica. They usually come and sit right here when they do. They are in a transition period, we'll say, transitioning from place to place. And so, but they are good friends of ours, and so we're going to bless them this evening with the baby shower. Bless everybody you come in contact today with peace. Be a bearer of peace. And so let me pray for y'all. Father, I just ask right now that our minds would be renewed, that we would understand what it means to truly be your hands and feet, and that we would be conscious of it as we go out. Use us this week to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Use us this week to be a miracle to somebody, and use us this week to bring peace to somebody's life. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.